You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, a car crash leaves 6 people injured.
Clouds have arrived, but we're still awaiting on the rain. But we've got it to the west and we've got it to the east. The latest from the Skywatch storm tracker.
Also, some businesses want proof of vaccination before you enter. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. 6 people are injured from a crash on Missouri 171 near Asbury. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, a work truck was westbound on Baseline Boulevard yesterday afternoon when it failed to stop at Highway 171. It then crashed into the side of an SUV that was southbound on the highway. Both vehicles went off the road into a nearby field. The work truck then caught fire. Medical helicopter took one of the injured people to the hospital. Met's Carl Junction Fire, the Missouri Highway Patrol, and the Jasper County Sheriff's Office all responded to the crash. There's no word on the condition of any of those injured. CDC says an increasing number of children are hospitalized for COVID-19. Freeman Health System yesterday hosted a media briefing to discuss pediatric COVID cases in the Joplin area. And right now, all children hospitalized for COVID at Freeman are unvaccinated.
The age range has been from less than 2 weeks to almost 18. And then the vaccination status was unvaccinated, some due to age.
Freeman pediatricians say they have also seen severe symptoms in some child COVID patients and say they recommend eligible children get vaccinated. Joplin and Crawford County Health Departments report more COVID-19 deaths. In Joplin, 2 more people died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths in the city to 173. Patients were an 82-year-old woman and a 78-year-old man. 6 more people in Crawford County have died with the virus since last week. That brings the total number of COVID deaths in Crawford County to 113. Well, students in Crawford County, Kansas could soon have the option to go maskless in class. After meeting with the Crawford County Health Department, the Pittsburgh School Board determined starting October 4th, students have the option to go maskless if the following countywide requirements are met. Crawford County must have 40 or fewer new COVID cases per week. The county's case numbers must be stable or trending downward. Local hospitals must have space for COVID-19 patients, and school absences caused by COVID must be under 3%.
I think a return to normalcy is important, but I think it's also important to remember that we're going to continue to look at data. And if the data shows us that we start having an increase again, this gives us the flexibility to go back en masse to make sure that we're keeping our staff and our students safe.
Crawford County Health Department director and a Pittsburgh high school student share their thoughts on the new mask policy later in our next half hour. Webb City celebrates homecoming this week, and yesterday folks gathered along Main Street for a parade. The night culminated with a bonfire at a field near the middle school and lots of food trucks and fun for the family.
Because, you know, back in the older years, that's what they did before big games. They had a big bonfire, and that's why we kind of decided to bring this back. And, you know, not everything from the past is bad.
Homecoming week celebration did not stop there. Local businesses like Maggie Jane's didn't hesitate to paint their locations and the town red in support of their Cardinals.
We're all about the community. We want to make sure we support Webb City. We want to support the schools 100%. And by that, we can decorate our window with painting the town red and make sure the schools and all the kids know that we support them and we can do everything we can.
Webb City will welcome in Branson for their homecoming game on Friday. Paleontologists in Brazil have discovered a new carnivorous dinosaur species that roamed the country some 70 million years ago. Now I'm just going to take a stab at this. It's dubbed the Curupira. This is a bipedal predator characterized by its strong legs and short arms. Investigators found the fossilized remains in Monte Alto and Sao Paulo State. Excavation work in Monte Alto discovered the first piece of the fossil in 2002. Further digging at the site allowed researchers to further piece together information on the new dinosaur species. How cool.
Did you say that was in Brazil?
Yeah.
They got a little bit of a past history of
Finding dinosaur bones?
and then removing them from the country. Yeah. So I hope that that's. I'm sure it will be well preserved, but yeah, there was a kerfuffle last year. I think it was some German scientists found some dinosaur bones and went to remove them. And I don't know if they got out of the country or not, to be honest with you. Well, I mean, if that's where they were found, they should be studied along with whatever else is around it. I don't see any reason to remove them from their final resting place. That is their final resting place, essentially, right?
True that, yes.
You never thought, folks, you would hear about paleontologist dinosaur bones, a heist to remove dinosaur bones from a country, and it being punctuated with my co-anchor and partner in crime saying, true dat. Welcome to the end of September.
What I'm thinking is different types of smuggling out of Brazil and South America. So.
Well, you can say what you were thinking of as drugs because that would be the logical thing to go with. You don't have to veil it.
Right. So,
Right.
I mean, maybe it's the same. There's a lot of experience with smuggling, so it probably doesn't really surprise me that that's the country or the area where dinosaur bones are smuggled from.
Nicolas Cage has dinosaur bones. Live look outside of Television City. The clouds got on us pretty quick. It's very similar in nature to yesterday. So we're waiting on two systems to arrive. One out to the west is just about to make its way into Wichita. That thing is packed full of lightning. The other one is a low pressure system that came out of northeast Arkansas that's right now riding the Missouri-Arkansas state line. And it's also making its way toward us. So it's kind of like we're on a little bit of a collision course here. Now, I don't want you to think it's going to be anything severe. It's going to be thunderstorm activity for the most part. And we need some rain for the central and eastern parts of the four states because when we look at our rain totals from yesterday, it just dominated the western part of southeast Kansas, anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch. Certainly got a whole lot more down in central Oklahoma, but look, even southern Washington County almost got about 2 inches of rain from yesterday on that line that you could take a ruler on and almost draw a straight line with it. Temperatures this morning ranging anywhere from about 63 to 68, so it really is comfortable outside even with the high humidity. Let's talk about our rain for this afternoon. And they say join us for the KOAM News at noon. We're going to be talking about the rain moving in here. And it'll stick around for the afternoon and evening hours. It's going to clear out, we get another morning break, but then Friday afternoon and evening, here we go again. This is going to roll up from the south tomorrow, and we're going to have a little bit of a wet high school football field. And for those of you going to the Missouri Southern Pitt State football game tomorrow, I would keep the umbrella with you as well because it doesn't want to stop really until Sunday morning. We will open up October with rain, but hey, nice temperatures with overnight lows eventually dropping into the 50s next week.
All right, up next, circus dogs gone missing. The case of the purloined pooches. And later, Britney Spears is one step closer to her freedom from her father. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Require proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test to enter businesses. The LA City Council was supposed to vote on it yesterday, but pushed it back until next week. Leslie Martin has more on how this decision could impact LA.
From masks and partitions to a sign at the door that reads, "We are keeping it clean and safe for all." Lala's Argentine Grill in Studio City feels they're already doing all they can to keep up with the city's pandemic ordinances.
Yeah, we got outside, we got inside. We separate tables by the rules.
But Lala's, along with almost every indoor business in the city of LA, may soon be hit with another ordinance requiring customers to show proof of vaccination.
I think it's going to be kind of impossible because it's already hard to ask people to use a mask.
The ordinance would require proof of vaccine or a negative COVID test to enter restaurants, bars, malls, gyms, movie theaters, and personal care businesses. The city council was expected to vote on it Wednesday, but after more than an hour of deliberation, Councilman Joe Buscaino withheld his vote. He told us why.
It's not clear, it's confusing. Its sunset date is not even tied to any health outcomes, which is another concern. And also I heard today that the agency that's charged with enforcement of this ordinance, the Department of Building and Safety, testified today that they don't even have enough staff to carry out this additional responsibility.
The city council will now vote on it next Wednesday. President Nuri Martinez predicting it will pass.
No one is forcing anyone to get vaccinated, but if you don't, there are certain things you will not be able to do.
If the ordinance passes, businesses could face anywhere from a warning on their first offense up to a $5,000 fine. Back at Lala's, they're left wondering what toll this will take on their business.
It's going to be harder to, if they ask for approval of vaccinated to get in on the restaurant. It's going to affect the business.
Many businesses across LA County have already decided to require proof of vaccination. The city of Pasadena and West Hollywood are also considering a similar mandate. Now, if the city of LA does pass this, it could go into effect by November 4th.
Well, this vote could have a serious impact on how Los Angeles businesses function and how they operate. Now, it could potentially lead to businesses closing due to lack of business. Type 2 diabetes patients faced a greater risk of dying from COVID-19. European researchers discovered that nearly a quarter of type 2 patients admitted into intensive care died within 7 days of being hospitalized from COVID. According to their study, about a tenth of type 2 patients also needed insulin infusions while battling COVID. Staying happy during early adulthood could help ward off dementia as you age. A new study in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease links poor mental health and cognitive decline. Researchers say young adults who deal with elevated symptoms of depression are 73% more likely to face dementia. The study also found stress could damage your brain's ability to make new memories. Well, yesterday in California, it was too quiet for one man. After going to check on his service dogs, he found that his dogs were missing, and they mean the world to him, and he thinks of them like his own kids. It turns out that they were stolen. The plea on social media for the dogs to be returned, his plea was answered and they were returned safely.
All well that ends well.
Yeah, that's good. Don't steal a man's dog.
You did not like the line, the case of the purloined pooches earlier?
No, I did. I thought it was fun.
A little Edgar Allan Poe moment I decided to have.
Purloined. I've never said purloined on air. Can we cross that one off?
Does that rank as one of my old man sayings then? Check.
It means to steal, kids.
I got out Roggett's Thesaurus and looked it up.
Thesaurus?
And Roggett's, yeah. I made sure that my Thesaurus is made by Roggett.
He's referring to Roger's Thesaurus, kids. They used to have a book that you could actually look through for words that mean other things, that mean similar things. Oh, the internet now.
I hope everybody at home is laughing about Roggett's. I hope you know it's tongue-in-cheek, folks. Over Rangeline, 68 degrees in Joplin right now. Humidity, ooh, yeah, look at that. That band of precipitable water that made its way in off the Gulf. And that's why this activity right here in northeast Arkansas is not going to ride the Mississippi like it usually would, or even make its way to the Ohio River Valley. Nope. It's got to ride that column, and with it doing that, you're seeing it force itself this way. That on top of this one in central Kansas that's on the west side of that column, and that's why that's going to head toward us as well. Fair amount of lightning with the one out to the west as it gets into Wichita right now, and the one on the east just about to approach Branson. So when we talk about future track, we know by the time we get around the noon hour, we're going to see both sides move in right there. We're not looking at anything severe. Thunder and lightning, yes, we will have, but no high winds or hail. And a little bit more scattered geographically, certainly than what we had yesterday. I could have taken a baseball and thrown it on the other side of the Montgomery-Labette County line. Would have got more rain on the other side. 7-day forecast with rain persisting all the way through the weekend, and more KOAM morning news on Fox 14 right after this. An Emancipation Day of sorts for Britney Spears. Pop singer emerging from a 13-year-old conservatorship controlled by her father, Anthony Purra, with more details from outside the courthouse in Los Angeles.
Britney Spears is no longer under the control of her father. A Los Angeles judge has suspended the legal agreement that has ruled the 39-year-old pop singer's life for the past 13 years and has appointed a temporary conservator to replace her father, Jamie Spears, effective immediately.
Today is a great day. It's a great day for Britney Spears, and it's a great day for justice.
Dozens of fans showed up at the courthouse to support Spears.
The United States government has failed Britney Spears. Her family's failed Britney Spears, so we're out here as her advocates.
Jamie Spears has made day-to-day and financial decisions on his daughter's behalf under a court-appointed conservatorship since 2008, when the pop singer suffered an apparent mental health crisis. But earlier this summer, the elder Spears filed a petition to end his role after his daughter sought to have his control taken away. In court documents filed before the hearing, Britney's lawyer said her father crossed unfathomable lines by allegedly monitoring his daughter's emails, texts, and calls and having a listening device planted in her bedroom. In her ruling, the judge agreed removing Spears' father from the conservatorship was in Britney's best interest. Some of the restrictions have already been loosened. Spears recently got engaged to her longtime boyfriend and has bought her first iPad and a car. Jamie Spears' suspension is not appealable. Anthony Pura, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Now, Spears herself was not present in the courtroom yesterday. A hearing to terminate the conservatorship, that is set for November. And one thing I wanted to point out, we do not have any watches, warnings, or advisories going on right now, whether it be for our specific counties or whether it be with that large system that's pouring a whole bunch of rain just on the other side of Wichita with all that lightning that they're having as well. So it shows you that the past 2 weeks, with as dry as they've been, we're still down more than an inch of rain for the month of September. So we need a little bit. Certainly the western part of southeast Kansas got more than a little bit during yesterday when that line moved in from Oklahoma, anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch. Very comfortable this morning, anywhere from about 63 to 68 degrees. Humidity, though, already up to 90%. We'll top out in the low 80s. And more importantly, here's the rain that we have. It begins, say around the noon hour. And it comes in from both sides. Comes in from the west and from the east. Lasts us into Friday morning. And then Friday afternoon and evening, here we go again as it rolls southwest to northeast for Friday night for high school football all the way into Saturday. Temperature's not too bad to begin October, though, and eventually we'll be done with the rain come Monday. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Specialist Krista Beck, member of the United States Army. 1991. She served in Iraq during the Gulf War. Her hometown, Pittsburgh, Kansas. We thank you, Krista Beck, our four-state hero. Last night, an apartment building in Dallas, Texas exploded. The suspected cause? A gas leak. JD Miles has more on the story.
It was just a boom, and it rocked everybody a building.
Because when I got blew back, I thought I was gone. I thought my life was over with.
They are the voices from those near the center of an explosion that reduced part of an apartment building to rubble.
When I came outside, I thought each unit was finna start blowing up. So that's why I started running up the hill.
Paul Randall grabbed his 2-month-old grandbaby and started running when it happened after 10 this morning at the Meadow Creek Apartments. His family is among 200 displaced from their units, who tonight are depending on the Red Cross for dinner and temporary housing.
We don't even know where we're going to stay at tonight. We don't even know where we're going to lay our head at tonight.
Lakeisha Williams suffered cuts from the blast, which she says happened after Dallas firefighters responded to concerns about a natural gas odor and tried to break into a unit.
One of the first responders, she went out there to the fire truck and got something out of there, I guess, to open the door to go in. As soon as she did that to the door, the apartment just blew up.
4 firefighters were rushed to Parkland Hospital, where they were initially listed in critical condition. But the city's fire chief revealed that they are all expected to survive, along with the others injured.
There is no such thing as a routine call. At any given moment, the health and safety of our brave men and women can be placed at extreme risk.
The city of Dallas promised an investigation in a statement. Also in a statement to CBS 11 News, Atmos Energy says our highly trained technicians began performing safety checks of Atmos Energy's system. Atmos Energy has verified that our system is operating as expected, and we have found no indication that our system was involved. Whoever was at fault, a number of tenants tell us they don't feel safe returning to the complex.
I don't want to go back over there. I don't want to stay over there. It's not safe. It's not safe. I don't want to go back over there.
The city is encouraging people interested in helping the affected families to donate to the Red Cross on the Dallas Foundation's Disaster Relief Fund. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, Webb City paints the town red for homecoming and lights it up. And one Amazon driver needs to work on his delivery. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
4 States Most Watched News starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. 6 people are injured from a crash on Missouri 171 near Asbury. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, a work truck was westbound on Baseline Boulevard yesterday afternoon when it failed to stop at Highway 171, then crashed into the side of an SUV that was southbound on the highway. Both vehicles went off the road into a nearby field. The work truck then caught fire. A medical helicopter took one of the injured people to the hospital. METS, Carl Junction Fire, the Missouri Highway Patrol, and the Jasper County Sheriff's Office all responded to the crash. There's no word on the condition of those injured. CDC says an increasing number of children are hospitalized for COVID-19. Freeman Health System yesterday hosted a media briefing to discuss pediatric COVID cases in the Joplin area. Right now, all children hospitalized for COVID at Freeman are unvaccinated.
The age range has been from less than 2 weeks to almost 18. And then the vaccination status was unvaccinated, some due to age.
Freeman pediatricians say they have also seen severe symptoms in some child COVID patients and say they recommend eligible children get vaccinated. The Joplin and Crawford County Health Departments report more COVID-19 deaths. In Joplin, 2 more people died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths in the city to 173. The patients were an 82-year-old woman and a 78-year-old man. 6 more people in Crawford County have died with the virus since last week. That brings the total number of COVID deaths in Crawford County to 113. Classrooms in Crawford County could become mask optional, but only if the county meets certain coronavirus-related health requirements. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke with the USD 250 superintendent and the director of the Crawford County Health Department to learn more.
Face masks in the classroom has been a contentious topic across the country, but the USD 250 school board has crafted a solution that hears the concerns of both sides.
We've been working with the Crawford County Health Department and our health officer to come up with criteria so that it does provide that sound basis that if we do decide to go mask optional, that it will be based on something that is vetted by KDHE and local data.
Starting October 4th, Crawford County students have the option to go maskless if the following countywide requirements are met. Local hospitals must have space for COVID-19 patients. School absences caused by the coronavirus must be under 3%. Crawford County's case numbers must be stable or trending downward. And Crawford County must have 40 or fewer new COVID-19 cases per week.
If we have more than 40 active cases, new cases a week, then it's going to put more pressure on the community system, on the hospital systems, on the medical systems. So that's how we came up with 40 cases.
Pittsburgh High School freshman Blake Posnick says he thinks the new class mask option is a winner.
I think it's a really good option because some kids just hate the masks in general and they'd be happy to take it off. And so I think that it would be a good choice in general because and it also gives the option that the people that still want to wear their masks can still wear the mask.
The new class mask policy goes into effect next week, but will the county have met the school board's criteria to give students a mask option?
We won't make the official announcement until the end of the week, but the numbers are definitely trending that way.
In Crawford County, Kansas, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Superintendent Profit also says he and other superintendents will meet with the health department at the end of each week to discuss local data and then let parents and students know if classes are mask optional for the following week. Webb City celebrates homecoming this week, and yesterday folks gathered along Main Street for a parade. The night culminated with a bonfire at a field near the middle school and lots of food, trucks, and fun for the family.
Because, you know, back in older years, that's what they did before big games. They had a big bonfire, and that's where we kind of decided to bring this back. And, you know, not everything from the past is bad.
Homecoming Week celebration didn't stop there. Local businesses like Maggie Jane's didn't hesitate to paint their locations and the town red in support of their Cardinals.
All about the community. We want to make sure we support Webb City. We want to support the schools 100%. And by that we can decorate our window with painting the town red and make sure the schools and all the kids know that we support them and we can do everything we can.
Webb City will welcome in Branson for the homecoming game on Friday. Well, last night the congressional baseball game took place at Nationals Park. It helped raise money for charity. President attended the game and was inducted into the Congressional Hall of Fame that evening. Do you know the results of that game, Michael?
I'm sorry?
Do you know the results of that game?
No, I don't. I do know that Steve Scalise was there.
Oh.
Yeah. Even participated.
That's cool.
I know. Isn't that something else? It doesn't seem like it's been 4 years ago since he was shot. It just doesn't. Time. I mean, COVID time is the wise one, and I used to call it COVID time.
And that happened at a baseball field.
They were practicing for the congressional game. Yeah.
I've actually been to that field.
Yeah, Scalise and his team were practicing for that game when he was shot in the hip. But 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That's something else. But yes, he was at, I don't know the results. I do know that he was at the game.
That's cool.
And yes, I don't care what side of what aisle you're on. That is amazing that that he was able to be there and take part the best he could, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the Skywatch Storm Tracker because we've got a little development here in the past 5 minutes alone. And that's going to be a little bit of green popping up. Now, this is the equivocation of some light sprinkles where you do see that green. And some of it is just from our pure humidity, not even hitting the ground. And here's how I want to illustrate that, is let's remove the satellite coverage and let's remove the radar. Let's go to the sweeping radar in particular. Now, see how light that blue is? Like I said, that's either going to be a raindrop or two, and some of it not even hitting the ground. Now, compare that to the two systems that we've been looking at all morning long. The one coming out of northeast Arkansas that's now approaching Branson, riding the Missouri-Arkansas state line. See, that's got some yellow, that's even got a little orange in it. And then this one out here that's now making its way through Wichita, good north-south band that'll hit our western counties, and all the yellow and a little bit of orange in it as well. So that's why I wanted to point that out on the sweeping radar, because if we do that, you go, oh, is it already creeping in? But no, if we actually, give technology a little chance here, you get an idea of what exactly to anticipate for the morning ride, because it's not going to be bad at all. Look at this. This is that rain total from yesterday. And that's something else. You could almost, like I said, I've been saying, you could take a ruler and almost trace that line as far as where that rain would not penetrate to the east at all. We're going to be a little bit more widespread today because of that system that's coming out of northeast Arkansas. So we'll get some scattered rainfall throughout southwest Missouri as well, and continue it for the western portion of southeast Kansas. That is for sure. Southeast Kansas is going to pick up, I'm talking 2.5 inches here by the time we get done with Sunday. Won't see that much in the central nor out in the east, but got to remember, past 2 weeks have been so dry, we are in need of a little precipitation. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
We want to thank.
All right, so you place that online order, you know it's going to be delivered, you get home from work and you look up and you go, what in the world? How in the world did the dude accidentally throw my package on the roof? Well, this was caught on a Ring doorbell camera in California. Jeannie Mose with the story that you need to see to believe.
This is the story of what happens when a package hits the roof, but the package recipient doesn't. In San Diego, an Amazon delivery guy either ran into a spider's web or got buzzed by an insect. When he swatted, one of his packages flew. Oh no. Oh no. The homeowner added music to the images caught on his Ring camera, capturing the delivery man's obvious distress. The package on the roof had him going in circles. He uttered a quiet expletive. The homeowner, Casey McPerry, commiserated, writing,
"Seriously, it's okay. This made our day."
The husband and wife who live here didn't know what happened till they got a message. "Hi, this is your Amazon delivery driver. This sounds crazy, but I accidentally threw a package on your roof. Do you have a ladder I can use?" The McPerrys investigated by flashlight.
I see it.
And the next day, Casey scaled the ladder. There it was. Some saw advantages. Well, at least you know nobody is going to steal it. For his agony and his admission, the unidentified delivery man was praised as best Amazon driver ever. The homeowner descended with pole and package, a package of vitamins it turns out. It reminded some of Walter White, tossing up pizza on the roof in Breaking Bad. We learned covering that episode that it's not always easy to intentionally stick the landing. An Amazon driver has to be in his prime to do it accidentally. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
I give the dude a whole lot of credit. He could have walked away, then, you know, we wouldn't know the story, but the fact that he was like, no, it's now my mission in life to get that off the roof for you. That was tremendous. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
This morning, we're discussing the stock market, controlling anti-vax rhetoric, and how big companies are looking to add at least 100,000 jobs. Diane King has more on these stories.
Stocks were mixed on Wednesday. The Dow gained 90 points. The Nasdaq fell 34 and the S&P 500 added 6. Yesterday, investors largely brushed off this week's uncertainty in Washington. Today, Congress is expected to pass a measure to fund the government through December 3rd, just hours before it would have to shut down. And while Senate Republicans have blocked efforts to raise the debt ceiling, lawmakers have another 3 weeks before that deadline comes to pass. YouTube is doing more to block anti-vaccination content. The Google-owned platform has already been removing misinformation about coronavirus vaccines. The new policy spreads to any vaccine that's been declared safe by health authorities. Other social media sites, including Facebook and Twitter, have made similar moves in the past year. Walmart wants to hire 150,000 workers for the upcoming holiday season. The big box chain says most of the positions will be long-term jobs, not just seasonal. Walmart is already the nation's largest private employer with more than 1.5 million employees. Competitors Amazon and Target are both looking to hire more than 100,000 workers this winter.
Other states. Natural gas prices are on the rise for some communities. Forest Lake, Minnesota is one of those communities affected by the rising prices. Last September, it was 60 cents per term, and this month it went up to $1.09. The cause? Supply and demand. Supply went up during the pandemic and the demand was low, but now that's reversed. Making adjustments such as having your furnace inspected, changing the filter regularly to help increase efficiency, and preventing leaks around windows and doors helps keep costs down. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Hi, I'm Scott. From Bond to Broadway, that'll be Daniel Craig's next move, and a new destination for film lovers as Anthony Pura has those stories with our eye on entertainment.
It's opening day for a museum that showcases some of Hollywood's greatest icons. From E.T. to R2-D2, the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures in Los Angeles also includes a special simulation of the Oscar experience. Actor Tom Hanks is on the board of trustees.
It is the world's largest magic lantern that will transport us to amazing places simply by getting together with a couple of strangers and walking into a dark room and sharing the experience.
Visitors will recognize some of Hollywood's most famous costumes, including Dorothy's dress and ruby slippers. Daniel Craig is busy promoting his new James Bond film, but he's already settled on his next act. The British actor will return to Broadway next year to play Shakespeare's Macbeth, set to open in March for a limited run. Actress Ruth Negga has signed on to play Lady Macbeth. And a musical about Princess Diana will debut on Netflix tomorrow before heading to Broadway.
At night he would sleep so soundly.
Diana, the musical, tells the story of her marriage to Prince Charles through their divorce. The film was taped over 4 days during the pandemic when theater was on pause. Judy Kaye plays Queen Elizabeth and called the filming an extraordinary experience.
We had to go into an empty theater. They had cleared all the seats out, put platforms up, and had 9 cameras trained on us.
The show opens on Broadway in November. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Anthony Pura, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Daniel Craig can go to Broadway all he wants. I'm just waiting for old Benoit Blanc to come back in Knives Out so I can hear him with that distinctive southern drawl that he perfected say, Mara Cabrera. It's my limited Daniel Craig impression. Live look outside of Television City where we say hello to the glow cloud, be able to penetrate those morning clouds that are rolling in. There we are over 7th and Rangeline. The clouds have actually backed off just a little bit, but we know there's a rain on the way because of that precipitable water. And we see the 2 systems riding the east and west ends of those columns. And that column is kind of collapsing right down upon us. Now, for the most part, we've seen just the rain, random raindrops. There hasn't been anything sustained, and it just popped up really about 7:30. So it hasn't been around that long. Okay, let's work out to the west because that's where we've got good lightning action making its way through Wichita. That's headed into western southeast Kansas. Now, this one over just about, Branson's getting rain right now. They haven't got the hard rain nor the lightning as of yet. But this one that's riding the Missouri-Arkansas state line, it came out of northeast Oklahoma. It is also headed toward the eastern part of southwest Missouri. So, like I said, we're kind of bookended. Everybody out in southeast Kansas, I know you got your fair share of rain yesterday. Probably like maybe a little break as long as possible here to get through the morning. And everybody in the central and eastern portion of our highlighted county saying, hey, it's been a really dry 2 weeks. We could take a little rain, and it'll get here. Temperatures still in between 64 and 68. We haven't seen hardly any movement on that at all. And we are kind of like in the thick of everything nationally speaking as far as the morning goes. Now, by the time we get into the afternoon and evening portion, while we'll have our thunderstorm activity, the severe stuff will stay down in southwestern Texas, down by the Rio Grande. We'll push up into the low 80s today and able to do so even with that cloud cover that will increase as we get through the morning hours. Now let's talk about our rain because by the time we get to noon, there we go. Like I said, the bookends will collapse down upon us and that'll take us into Thursday night. Now we're going to break for the morning and once again, or break for late night, early Friday morning. But once again, look at all the rain out in the western part of our counties. And then for Friday, here we're going to roll southwest up to northeast. That's about high school football kickoff right there. That's an hour before kickoff. And so it's going to be a wet one out there on the high school football field, and that's going to carry us into Saturday morning. Now, speaking of Saturday, of course, we've got the Pitt State Missouri Southern football game. Well, that's going to be a little wet as well. And the rain doesn't want to stop until Sunday. Now, we open up October with very, very manageable temperatures. Could be worse if it were scorcher, but it's not. We'll just roll low 80s, high 70s. Be back. Wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The House and Senate are slated to vote on a resolution that would fund federal agencies through December 3rd. The votes will be held just hours ahead of a midnight deadline that would have triggered a government shutdown. Measures not expected to increase the nation's debt ceiling. The House committee investigating the January 6th Capitol Hill riot has subpoenaed organizers of rallies that preceded the violence. Former President Trump appeared at one of those events billed as the Save America March. The committee wants to know more about the organizers' communications with officials at the White House. And Britney Spears is no longer under her father's control. Yesterday, a judge in Los Angeles suspended Jamie Spears as his daughter's conservator. The arrangement had been in place since 2008 and gave him near total control of her career and finances. The singer recently sought to end the conservatorship. The judge indicated she would do so at a hearing in November. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
Yeah, I want to point out this one, Tanya, up here in the northeastern portion that's headed towards Stockton, right there, because that thing just spawned several lightning strikes here in the last several minutes. Of course, we've got a huge amount of lightning out to the west. Remember, everything just kind of moves right toward us. Temperatures today around 83 and umbrella all the way to the weekend.
All right, well, The Price of Right is turning 50 years old. The show is celebrating that anniversary with a 2-hour special. The special includes never-before-seen outtakes, a salute to Bob Barker, who used to host the show until his retirement, and a look back at the biggest winners. It airs on CBS and Paramount Plus at 8 p.m.
Well, thank you for letting us put the good in your morning. Back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
There's casinos, then there's high